Hey guys, my name is Norton. I was a part of the 2023 graduating class at ADA, and we are here in Chicago, Illinois on its last day of the touring company of Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. Truthfully, the first thing I did was I went home. I went home for a couple months. I spent some time with family. I got to see some friends and took a load off. We all know the conservatory feel. It's you put your nose to the grindstone for a while and you're in it. So it was nice to come up for air for a little bit. But didn't take too long before I was back in New York looking for work. The training from the Academy gave me what I like to refer to as a great toolbox. Anytime I came into a problem where I wasn't able to solve it just through thinking my way through it or getting my hands dirty, there was always some tools that the Academy provided, whether it was aada questions or some animal work, anything that we had gone over, that I knew that I always had a utility belt of sorts to get me through whatever block I was facing. And that belt has saved me quite a couple times, truthfully, at this point. The audition process was intense, truthfully. It was a lot. It started on Actors Access, make sure you keep those Actors Access subscriptions, but they just put out a listing saying we're looking for actors for all these roles. I threw a headshot and a resume in, and then I had a self-tape to do, and then I had a movement call, and then an acting call back, and then a second movement call, and then I had a flying test. They strapped me onto some cables and flew me through the air to see if I was able to figure out what I was doing. And that whole process took a little less than 2 months. I would go about 3 to 4 days from the audition itself to hearing that I had gotten to the next round, and then another 3 or 4 days, up to a week even after that, until that next audition. So I went from around mid-October until I got the call on December 8th. It has been absolutely ludicrous in the best way possible. The joke of the cast is just that, it's a good group. It's a great group of people, because that's all it was at the start, but it so quickly became such a found family. Everyone is so ready to do the work. Everyone is so celebratory of each other and what other people's achievements are. There's a toast in the dressing room every night after a cover goes on for the first time. Everyone gathers in the dressing rooms and celebrates that person, and there's just such a sharing of the wealth and the generosity. And then the show itself has been fantastic. You get to run around on stage, do some magic tricks. I got a buddy that flips over the stairs every night. It's a wild ride from start to finish, and everyone on the ride with you is just fantastic. And I know it sounds like I'm making all of that up. I know it sounds ridiculous, but I promise you, it has been truly special. A show of this scale does tend to need a lot of specificity, and a lot of that specificity doesn't necessarily come from feeling your way through things or finding it on stage. A lot of time the answers are sort of given to you. But I think the challenge has been less so in dealing with that, because it's not a rotten deal by any means. I think the challenge is just living up to that and knowing that we've been presented with a truly special opportunity, and that opportunity asks for a certain level of commitment and care. And the challenge has just been, and not even a bad challenge, but just a nice challenge to work toward, has been waking up every morning and committing to that opportunity that has been provided, and committing to that ideal. It's just, you get to work towards something so special every day, and it's exciting to face that challenge. Typical day on tour. The ideal day is, you wake up at a reasonable hour. I mean, you know, you get out of work at 10 o'clock, and most people get out of a 9 to 5, and 4 hours later it's 9 p.m. and they go home. We get out of work at 10 o'clock, and 4 hours later it's 2 o'clock in the morning. And so, you know, going to sleep a little later than we would maybe like to be, but we have the time to wake up in the morning, hit the gym, keep yourself in shape, have good meals, get ready to go to the show for our warm-up that we have in the morning, and then go through the show, run through it, have a blast on stage, have a blast backstage, and then, you know, we'll take the time after the show to relax, kick back, and hang out a bit. It's Groundhog Day a little bit, but I like the repetition. Yeah, there's a lot of the stuff we worked on in movement, or a lot of the Alexander technique that we've discussed is just great for getting yourself in a loose, prepared space. We are very lucky and fortunate that we are given a warm-up every morning, that we're led through a 15-minute physical warm-up, a 5-minute vocal warm-up, and that's not enough for everyone, and you'll see people, you know, from you know, all these different practices, grabbing some time to do some Alexander technique, or just do some sun salutations, or keep the body moving. I pull some tricks out of my back pocket every once in a while, yeah. It could be any of them, truthfully. This was a project that I auditioned for because I figured, hey, why not? I was working at the Lyric Theater at the time, and everyone was talking about, oh, you know, it's a bunch of actors, you know, working as the ushers. So everyone's talking about, oh, might as well go in. We know the show so well, might as well do the audition again. And I said, sure, might as well. And it ended up being the one. And I think the advice is just that any of them could be the one, but don't expect any of them to be the one. Don't hope for any of them to be the one, because then you're gonna get down on yourself. It truly sometimes can just be up to chance on whether you look right or you sound right, but so much of that is out of your control that any of them could be the one that you are right for. Just keep searching for that one. I think everyone tends to be their greatest critic, but don't let that turn you into your greatest hater. I think there's a very fine line between being critical and being constructive, and just being too hard on yourself and hating on yourself. There are people who are going to do that for you, and you're not going to be able to change their mind, and that has nothing to do with what you're doing. Don't let yourself become one of those people too. One of the first things that had me look at the Academy was actually another former graduate, another alumni, Danny Beaton, who graduated 2018. I'd have to double check on the number for you. But he went to the Academy, absolutely loved it, and he was such a role model for me growing up, and he's gonna hate hearing me say that too, but he knows it. Said he went to the Academy and absolutely loved it, and it jumped to the top of my list on schools that I wanted to look at. And then when I did, I just found a program that seemed really dedicated to giving the actor the proper training and care that they needed. And it seemed like a no-brainer for me. There was a lot. I think it's tough to narrow it down to a specific memory, but I think it was just being able to work with so many different partners. I had some amazing partners in classes. I worked with Ovida van der List, who was a graduate of my year as well. I believe she also was a graduate of the company. I got to work with Ruby Joy Ketchum, who was absolutely fantastic. My roommate, Harry Robinson, also, we did some fantastic work together. I had so many fantastic partners that made scene work so rich that anytime we were able to have a breakthrough was just the best. It really was. Everyone works differently, and I think the benefit of working with people so closely at a conservatory is that you are kind of thrown together. You don't get to know who these people are before you go in, and then you're doing scene work with them. And it really does teach you how to find a middle ground, because a lot of actors work differently, but I was really able to learn what works for me, what doesn't work for me, and how to have a little bit of a give and take with that. You know, I may want to run this scene this way, my partner may want to run the scene this way, and as long as you know what you're comfortable with and what you're not comfortable with, you can work out a middle ground with your partner. And that is necessary, especially when you're walking into an acting room. You don't get to know who your partner is in an acting callback until you're doing the acting callback. And so having that experience of knowing what you need to do, knowing what you need, and being able to maybe have that quick little conversation, build up a quick rapport, and be ready to take whatever that partner is giving you is priceless. I think there's a lot of magic that happens in that building. And just like Harry Potter, I gotta keep the secrets, and I can't necessarily tell you how all that magic works, but you might just have to trust it. I think I just want to say, first and foremost, thank you to all of my teachers. You guys were all fantastic, and it was such an honor getting to learn from you. I want to thank all of my classmates. Some of you got in on the information a little bit earlier, and everyone was so supportive. And it's not a Harry Potter sign-off without a little whiz-o, is it? So, whiz-o. Thank you, guys.